Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside CU Sports. I'm Zach Wilson, joined today by head coach of the Lady Tigers soccer team, Alex Adams. How you doing tonight, Alex? Or, excuse me, today, Alex?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here,
Good
and
deal.
thank you for welcoming me.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Y'all have started the season off on the right foot. A big win last night against U Pike, improving to 5-1 now overall. You won that matchup 8-0. What do you tell your team now, looking ahead to the more tough part of your schedule, moving into conference play? How do you keep them on the right track?
The biggest thing that we've been focusing on really is just, keeping the focus one game at a time.
Right.
Not looking too far forward. Just focus on getting better every single day. So we want to be sharp and only concerned about the game Saturday with Shawnee State. And we're going to prepare to recover our bodies first, make sure we're mentally where we need to be, and then have a great training session over the next couple of days so that we're ready to step in and have a great game on Saturday.
Right. Shawnee State, obviously the next matchup against you or for you all. What are some things going into that matchup that you're telling your team? What's the game plan looking like for that game?
So for us, again, we just need to continue to build on what we've been doing. I think one of the biggest things, we've been able to attack with numbers very well. We've been able to maintain possession, but then still strike, out of transition as well. So for us, they're going to be, a team that's willing to attack and apply pressure throughout the field. So being able to just be possession-based with the right intensity, and then make sure that we're finishing those opportunities whenever they come our way. So
Right.
I think that's been an area where we've been extremely successful, just being able to get forward and have the right intent to go forward with just quality and intensity and the technique to be able to tuck balls away consistently over the last few games.
Right. Your defense has honestly looked awesome the past few games. The last 3 games specifically, winning 8-0, 3-0, and then 8-0 again. What's the game plan looked like on the defensive side of the ball? What have you done to tell your team to keep going and keep improving on that side?
Yeah, so the last 3 games have been really good with that. It starts with the attacking side, making sure that you bring the right intensity with that so that you pin the other team back. You don't let them get those chances. You apply pressure whenever you do turn it over in that attacking third. I think we've done a good job of eliminating any quick transition into our back line over the last 3 games. And then defensively, we've got experience and quality within the back line. And then a freshman goalkeeper as well that's been doing very well. She's adjusted a couple things within her game to be more consistent now. And it's really a team type mentality that we step into the game with. I've told them consistently within, especially some of the games where we're scoring quite a few goals, I don't really care to score that 6th, 7th, 8th goal as much as I care about keeping the clean sheet. So making sure that the focus is on recovery and be more disciplined on how we get our shape back behind the ball, even than when the shape that we're attacking in. So I think that they've done a good job of adjusting to that and have shown the quality intensity on the negative side as well.
Right. What's it like having a freshman goalkeeper in goal for you all? Is she very vocal? It's tough to be a leader being that young, but obviously being a goalkeeper, you have to be somewhat of a leader.
Yeah, so she's done a very good job, and we have 2 freshman goalkeepers that are competing that are both very talented players. So, you've seen them share some of the game time as well, but right now I think both are communicating well. Dushka's stepped into that starting position more consistently now and has done a good job of communicating. She plays very well with her feet, and then again she has 2 very good center backs with other center back depth right in front of her that are able to help communicate, help shut things down, and really limit the number of opportunities that the other teams have. And then they do a good job of just consistently making the saves they need to and providing that support and quality from the backside as well.
So who are a few players that have really stepped up throughout the progression of the year, from training camp on to this point? And, is it more of a collective leadership effort from the team standpoint, everyone really knowing what their goal is and everybody has to do their part, or have some players individually stepped up and taken that team leader role?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, and you see it game to game. It'll change. Sometimes it's an individual that just has to step up and step into that moment and take control of the entire game. But the majority of the time, I think the team culture and the mentality that we carry through is that everyone's going to be consistent as far as their work rate, covering for each other, and make sure that they do a good job of being willing to take risks and make mistakes, but then covering for each other whenever they do that, especially going forward. So I think, last night specifically, it was tough to break them down. Pikeville did a good job of staying deep and just limiting some chances, or at least the high quality chances through the start. And then one of our she's a junior, captain, the defensive central midfielder, Jenna Croto, she was able to step up and bury a couple once and, just break us through that barrier. I think she's done a great job of stepping up. And then realistically, the goal scoring is spread across the team right now. We've got players that are all stepping in with confidence, able to take on the big moments. And I think, it spreads more throughout the entire team, and the mentality and the culture that we bring into each and every single game. So.
Right. One thing that I've kind of noticed, watching from behind the scenes, is how much better the passing has gotten from your team standpoint throughout the season. Is that something that's been a key focus in your practices, stuff like that?
Yes, definitely. We want to be the type of team that can control major portions of possession within the game. So move the other team around, build quality, numerical advantages, specifically in the widths, and then eventually, hopefully, at the top of the box as well, so that we can, get higher probability, higher, just better attacking chances. Right. So I think, we've always been a more possession-based team. Now we have the ability as well to stretch teams with some additional pace that we've added. So I think that will start to even open up more space within the midfield. And I think they've done a good job, like you said, in training. One of our biggest things is a focus on the pace of play, on playing quick and sharp within, and then getting the movement off the ball right. And they've started to really adjust to that and get better every single day with it.
That was head coach Alex Adams with us here on Inside CU Sports. Stick around. We'll be right back with another segment with head coach in just a moment. You're following Inside CU Sports.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Our fight against coronavirus isn't over. We still have to slow the spread and do our part. Let's wear face masks in public. Stay 6 feet or more from others. Follow state and local guidelines. Wash our hands frequently and stay home when we feel safe. For ourselves, for our loved ones, for our future. Let's move forward together. Learn more at coronavirus.gov.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just because we're being healthy at home and practicing good social distancing doesn't mean we have to lock ourselves away and throw away the key. You can still get up and stay active not only for our physical health, but for our mental health as well. Maybe it's time to pick up running again. Or you can take the dogs for a walk. And with all the barbershops and salons being closed, right now seems to be a good time to learn to cut your own hair. But no matter what you do, make sure you have fun. And for more information on what Campbell's University is doing in our battle against COVID-19, visit campbellsville.edu.
Welcome back to Inside CU Sports here at Campbellsville University. Zach Wilson, joined by head coach of the Lady Tigers soccer team, Alex Adams. Alex, doing okay, obviously. Welcome back in, and so want to take a look at what we've had going on through the season. Obviously, you all have started off a great start, 5-1 record, moving into conference play. a big win over U-Pike. We spoke on that. Now heading forward to Shawnee State, how do you improve to 2-0 in conference play here? We talked a little about the game plan, but what's some strategic side of things that you're going to have to go into, analytics, going into this game?
I think a couple of things that we're going to be looking at over these next few weeks, building into Shawnee State and then Cumberland's in the games after that, are just solidifying a little bit of the movement within the attacking side, making the adjustments for some very specific ways that some of the teams that we have coming up play, adding a little bit more specific press in to apply pressure on the other teams, and then be a little bit better on our set pieces. We did score a couple there, but it's something that we scored a couple last night, and then I still feel like it's somewhere that we can improve. Just be able to earn corner kicks, earn free kicks, and then be able to capitalize on those more consistently. So we've been doing a good job, but just continuing to work on those and be more creative in that area as well.
Now, with the corner kicks, obviously you probably have some set design plays. What are some looks that you like to go with? Obviously not going into too many details, giving anything away, but what are some different approaches you all like to take with corners?
Realistically, we just like to find isolations with the players on our team that are willing to step up and put their head on the ball.
Right.
So if we can get, and it depends based on the team that we're playing a little bit as well. Are they man marking? Are they strong on that side of the ball? How creative do we have to be with our movement to find that space? So realistically, as long as there's players that know their roles within the box, get into those specific spaces and then do their job within it, and then we have 1 to 2 that are willing to really attack the ball and just do their best to put it on frame, then I'm happy. So we've gotten some good looks, and like I said, just continuing to try to refine some of those details so that we don't make little mistakes and we can capitalize more consistently.
Kiera's been a huge player for you all so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
Should have her back for the Shawnee State game. Good to go?
Yes, she should be good to go.
Okay,
so,
awesome.
Yeah, she's an exciting player, someone that's always a threat, and then she's building better consistently every single day into like the dynamic of the team, just getting more and more comfortable, and creating a lot for other players as well. So she's definitely a dangerous player that we've enjoyed having within our team.
Big news coming in as of today. You all have now been receiving votes for the top 25. That's big news for the team. What's it like to know that you've started the season off on the right foot, but also you're getting some recognition?
Yeah, I've told the girls, like, as we were going through, I know some of them were excited, thinking it's like, we've beaten and played very consistently, strong against every single team that we've played, and beaten some good teams as well. But I told them, I was like, expect to be receiving votes or in the middle of that, but we still have a lot to prove. Right. I feel like we have the talent and the ability to jump up into the rankings pretty high if we do things the right way. So now it's just making sure that we continue doing the things that we've been doing well, eliminate some of those mistakes, and then again focus on one game at a time so that we don't get ahead of ourselves. And the number beside us, the receiving votes thing, doesn't really matter. We just have to prove it day in and day out and get better. More about the process than it is like the result at the end of the day for us.
Coach, thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping by. Lady Tigers' next matchup, obviously, with Shawnee State. Stick around. We're going to have another segment here in just a moment with assistant coach of the men's soccer team, Drew Sin. You're following Inside CU Sports.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Myth. I can party with people as long as they don't have symptoms. That myth is false. As we've seen, up to 40% of people who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic and can pass it on to others. So I'd recommend avoiding any social parties, especially indoor ones. If you want to try to socialize but reduce your risk, I'd recommend meeting outside in small groups, continuing to wear a mask, and socially distancing from others if you can. Then together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19. The anxiety can be overwhelming. If you're feeling extra worried, you're not alone. You can still contact a mental health professional. They're ready to help you get through this. And remember, prepare, focus on the essentials. Protect, keep some space from people outside your home, and disinfect a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Welcome back to Inside CU Sports. I'm now joined by Drew Sin, assistant coach of the Tigers soccer team. Drew, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us. You're coming off of another 6-0 win, this time against U-Pike. The offense has looked great this season. Talk about what's went into the offense building up so far this season. You all have already scored 30 goals on the year, so really executing well. Has that started from, training point? Has that been a mainstay, a big focal point for you all?
Yeah, for us, from our side of things, where we struggled, I think last year was trying to get the guys to connect throughout the middle of the midfield and moving forwards. And we've done a really good job at helping the guys sort of find each other's feet whenever there's space available. We've been fortunate in the sense that our main players have kicked on and are scoring quite a few goals, and we're creating a lot of opportunities, which is fantastic for us. Right. Definitely.
Do you think that's got to do a lot with the chemistry on the team, just working together, creating all those, obviously passing, getting to the goals, just on the offensive side of the ball? Is that built up through chemistry or just, great execution overall?
I think it's a bit of both. We've got a lot of individual talent across, the different players on the pitch. Team chemistry is always going to be huge for us. Making sure that the guys click on together and are both on and off the pitch is going to be a huge factor for us. Definitely, in terms of the team chemistry, we're trying to find ways where we can get the guys to gel a little bit better. That definitely makes a huge impact in the way that we perform on the pitch. That probably goes to leadership as well in terms of the older group that we have on the pitch, and then a bit of everything else that we toss in terms of training as well, just trying to help develop these young men.
Right. Well, now you're getting into the conference portion of the schedule. Obviously, we spoke on the win against U-Pike. Now looking ahead to Shawnee State. What do you tell your team knowing you're about to go through a tough stretch of the schedule? How do you keep them focused and keep them lasered in?
From our side, it's just a matter of just taking one game at a time. The conference is going to be tough. We know it's a tough conference. Looking ahead at Shawnee specifically, we'll do a lot in terms of scouting them, watching the games that they have available online, being able to determine where we're able to be effective once we step onto the pitch, and that helps us tailor our training sessions as well. So we really, really try to do a lot of research into what we can do to be as effective as we can come game day. And like I said, they're going to be a tough opponent, so we really hope that we as coaches do everything that we can to prepare the guys as best as possible to come out and compete.
Keeping things on the offensive side of the ball, Sebastiano Musu has been fantastic to watch this season. 11 goals already in 5 games alone. Talk about his ability to score the ball, and not only that, but just getting in on goal, his ability to finish. What kind of player is he, and how special is it to have him on the roster?
Yeah, so Sebastiano is a fantastic player. Individually, he's got a lot of great technical ability. But before you get to him and talk about what he's doing this season, you've got to look at the players behind him. Right. So from our side of things, we've really got some dynamic players that are behind him that are helping get the ball to his feet and helping to create space for him to be able to create these scoring opportunities. On the back end, he still has to finish. Right. And he's done a really, really good job at being able to put the ball in the back of the net. He's making us really happy. As an individual player, he's a kind of player that all of us coaches would really want to have on our team. Incredibly hardworking, skillful, good technical ability, and he's always one of those guys that's pushing his teammates around him to be able to stay out and do a little bit more, to be able to get additional reps in, after training. And you can see that, the product of his work is being showcased on the field where he's scoring goals. So
only a sophomore too, correct?
Yeah, he's only a sophomore, yeah, 100%. And I think with the COVID year, I think he gets an extra one. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic for us, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we're going to step away for a quick minute. We'll be right back here on Inside CU Sports with more with assistant coach of the men's soccer team, Drew Sin. You're following Tiger Soccer on Inside CU Sports.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oscar the Grouch here to tell you, yeah, you, to wear a mask out in public around other people. Sure, it'll keep you healthy, but more importantly, I won't have to see your happy, smiling face. And if you don't want to wear a mask, I've just got one thing to tell you. Scram! Go away!
Caring for each other because we are all in this together.
So wear a mask and have a rotten day, will ya?
Hey, Mommy.
All right, don't forget to buckle up.
As parents, we make daily decisions to keep our children safe. But it's easy to forget that sexual abuse could happen to any child, at any place, by anyone. It's our responsibility to prevent child sexual abuse. To learn more, visit www.pcaky.org. Or to make a report of child abuse, call 1-877-KY-SAFE-1.
My name is Alex Mead. I'm the Television Program and Production Director here at WLCU. We just want to make sure we do our part in reminding you to do the important things during this COVID-19 pandemic. Make sure you wash your hands frequently, try not to touch your face, and most importantly, stay at home and practice good social distancing. For more information on what the state of Kentucky is doing in their battle against the COVID-19 virus, visit kycovid19.ky.gov. And for more information on what Campbellsville University is doing in our battle, visit campbellsville.edu.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Inside CU Sports. Zach Wilson, joined by assistant coach of the Tigers soccer team, Drew Sin. Drew, now flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, you all have some young players on the team. What's it like to try to get these players to buy in, being so young, but also coming together as a collective unit?
Yeah, obviously that's going to be a difficult task. Like you said, we've got a lot of youngsters on the team. The defensive side of the ball is somewhere I take a lot of pride in, having played in that, in one of those positions myself back in the day here at Campbellsville. In terms of getting them to buy in, a big part of that's going to be will fall on the leadership group. We've got Connor Grant, who's going to be a senior this year, who is a senior this year, who's led our defensive line for the past few years. Actually, he's a solid player, big presence on the field. We're blessed in the fact that Mark Boy's come in and stepped alongside him, and is also a fantastic player. So between the two of them, they're the ones that definitely speak along those lines and have to communicate effectively across that defensive line. And then behind them is Jeremy, our goalkeeper as well, who's a fantastic presence too. So in terms of getting them to buy in, it's really just making sure that through our training sessions that all the players in those positions know and understand what our expectations are, making sure that through our training we tick all the boxes in terms of what we want them to get done, fix any problems that we pick up game to game, and then realistically just work game to game, like I said, just making sure that any problems that present themselves we correct as quick as possible.
Now, speaking on Campagnolo, the sophomore goalkeeper, he's been a force in goal for you all this season, making some great saves, really keeping some clean stat sheets as well. Talk about his leadership skills. Only being a sophomore, obviously as a goalkeeper you have to be very vocal and just be a leader overall. Talk about him, having him as a player and what he means to this team.
Jeremy is a fantastic individual, great presence on the team, and he's a really good guy. Love working with him. I think we're pretty blessed because we do have James Clements as our goalkeeper-specific coach. He was the previous assistant coach, in my role before I got in. And he's done a really good job at helping develop our players in that position specifically. If you know anything about James, he's a big presence, a loud presence, and he's a great leader. And he's helping to develop those players specifically within their roles, on the pitch. Jeremy himself, I'm super pleased with him. There's a lot of growth that we've seen in him over the past year or so that we've had him. And I think there's still a lot more to him. He hasn't really quite reached anywhere near the ceiling of his potential. So we've got a lot to look forward to, in other words, with him. On the pitch, I think he's got great technical ability. Like you said, he pulls out some big saves. Personally, I'd prefer if he didn't have to, because that means the defense is doing a better job, but that's the game of football. There's always going to be moments that present themselves where he has to step up, and fortunately so far he's done that. So we're pretty happy with him so far.
Is there any players specifically that's really stepped up and impressed you on the defensive side of the ball this year?
On the defensive side, I would say Diego Cheno has been fantastic. He's one of our Portuguese players that came in this year. He does a really great job at reading what's going on in the game while he's playing it. He does a great job at cutting off passing lanes and really just helping to protect those behind him. So I would really say he's done a really great job in that position specifically from a defensive side.
Now, with the defensive side of the ball, obviously you have your midfield as well. Talk about Tom Edge for a second, how great he's been to have not only on the roster, but back for another year with the COVID protocols.
Oh, man, I mean, I've spoken about this with Coach Preston, and we're just so happy to have Tom back. We love this guy. He's a huge presence for us in the team, great leader. We're working with him as often as we can just to help continuously develop him, because he's someone that's given a lot to this program, and we just want to see him succeed both on and off the pitch. He started scoring a couple goals from distance now, which is fantastic. It means he's taking on what we're trying to teach him. And I think if he continues to do that, he's going to bag a lot more goals this season and continue to have a major impact on the team. So, yeah, super happy with Tom this year and just glad to have him back for at least another season.
Shawnee State's the next matchup for you all on the slate. So, obviously, going into this matchup, second conference match, what do you tell your team to get them ready for this game, and as well as keeping the train rolling and keeping the steam going forward? 5-0 right now, trying to continue that record on a good pace.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, our approach to Shawnee is going to be no different than we approach any other opponent. We, like I said, do our homework in terms of looking into how they play, how they set their team up, and to see where we can help expose, their players and give ourselves an advantage on the pitch. I think one of the players that's going to be quite critical to us come this game especially is going to be Samuel Londono. He's one of our freshman players that came in this year, and he's doing a fantastic job. Between him and the offensive line, I think there's just been, like you said earlier, a lot of team chemistry that's come together, and we're starting to create a lot more opportunities just from his presence in the midfield and the way that he utilizes the space, in the advanced portions of the pitch.
Right. Not to kind of jump ahead a little bit, but a big matchup following the Shawnee State game with the University of the Cumberlands. They've played two top 25 opponents, and they've won one and tied one. What's that matchup going to look like? Big programs for the Mid-South Conference going head-to-head?
Yeah, that's going to be a huge fixture for us. Obviously we don't want to look too far ahead, and we'll look at and focus on Shawnee State first. But like you said, it's a big game. Yeah. We just hope that we set ourselves up for success, just in the way that we approach this weekend, and then recovery is going to be a big portion and focus of the next couple of days after the game this weekend. So we just hope that we come with the right mindset and we help get the guys focused to be able to compete. I think we beat them last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we won 1-0 at the beginning of the season at their place. So hopefully we go in with a bit of confidence, knowing that we can beat them. They obviously did finish the season really strong, so I think our guys will definitely be up for the challenge.
Awesome. Great stuff, Coach. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Pleasure being with you and talking some soccer. If you want to follow along with the Lady Tigers or the Tigers this weekend, you can tune in online at the CU Sports Network, or you can join along at Finley Stadium with the Lady Tigers playing at 6 and the men to follow at 8. Thank you for following Inside CU Sports.